Hi, welcome again to the augmented7th.com. This video lesson is a continuation of the first part, or rather the second part, extending from the first part of our alternate picking exercises. Okay, so in this particular video what we're going to do is look at 3 notes at a time. Now, for those of you who are new to alternate picking, or particularly with scales, you may find it easier to really break this down to its most simplistic possibilities. So in order to do that, let us just consider the first 3 fingers and the first 3 frets. As I said in the previous videos, alternate picking must be strict. It's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, not down, up, down, down, up, down. Okay, so what that means now for what we're doing with these 3 notes, so we'll assign these to the first 3 frets, and we'll just start with 1 string again and just play down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And what you want to do is just sit on that spot and keep the pick moving and work those fingers in. That's basically how we begin. So I should probably do that a little bit more slowly. So let's just say down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and so on. And it's easier to break it down to this type of level so that there's no position shift required, there's no crossing of the strings required. We're just basically looking at the actual timing and coordination of doing 3 notes at a time, or a triplet. Okay, so once again. Now once we've mastered that particular exercise, we can extend it to move up a fret at a time with the same fingering pattern. So for example, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and so on. And eventually what you get to is and you ascend as far as you can go and then descend. Now this helps break it down and keep it simple and keep the movement at an absolute minimum, and it helps when we come to playing various scales. Now what we can also do is use other combinations of 3 fingers. We can start with the first, the second and the fourth. Okay, now this is pretty common in scale shapes, so it's good to move on to these types of patterns. So what we've got is down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And again, it's just that continual motion of down, up, down, up, down, up. And we can ascend with that pattern once we feel comfortable enough in doing so. Ascend and then descend. Okay, so we're just getting basic movements going with alternate picking, and just trying to get that timing right with the pick, with the fingers, and keep that constant tempo. So if you have to do it really slowly, don't be embarrassed, there's no problem with that. It takes time to master these techniques, so if you are an absolute beginner, just go nice and slowly, as slow as you need to. Try and keep to a metronome if you need one, but just keep that tempo constant as we did with the previous exercises in part 1. Okay, so having done that, we can also look at other 3 finger combinations, and so we've got the first, third and fourth. And then we can alternate between first, second and fourth, and first, third and fourth. So Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm playing 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. So this is more coordination required because of the change in which middle finger is being used. Okay, so once we feel comfortable with that, we can play. I'll try and break this down nice and slowly. We can play 1, 2, 4, move up 1, 3, 4, or 2, 4, 5 in terms of the frets. Move up, first, second, fourth, move up, first, third, fourth. And so what we do is again, we're just alternating between those finger combinations. And the last 3 finger combination that I can think of is the last 3 fingers. Why would we bother with this when we already have the first 3 fingers? Well, it just makes sure that this little finger doesn't get left out, and it has its coordination with, say, your third finger and your second finger, builds up dexterity, makes you a more complete player, and all those types of things. So with that in mind, similar to the very first exercise of this part, and, you know, ascend to the end and then descend. The final exercise for this particular part is the alternation between the first, second and third, and the second, third and fourth fingers. Okay, so what this means is we make a position shift of 2 frets. I'll show you why that is. When we play the first 3 fingers, starting at the first fret of the top E string, we've got down, up, down. We then start with the second finger on the second fret, down, up, down, up, down, up. Then move up to the third fret with the first finger, down, up, down, up. And so what we do, if we speed it up a little bit, is have something like. So we should take our time with these types of exercises and build our playing chops up just gradually. These are a bunch of exercises that you can try. As I say, always ascend and then descend. Play at a tempo that suits you, but make sure you get that coordination right. And if you need to just sit in one position to get the feel of it and to practice, then that's absolutely fine.